live here coming at you from the Box to Box Radio podcast. You know by the music, by Sincerely Yours. You know by the sound of my voice. This is the away leg. I am Travis Carmichael. I am so good. I don't need home field advantage. Sitting across from me is Travis A-Day. Sitting next to me is producer Chris. And vacant to my left is Mason Carmichael, currently in Mexico on a mission trip. We wish him safe travels and that he returns to us soon or not. Maybe he should just stay there because he is not my favorite on the away legs. Trav, how you doing?
I'm doing good. It's good to be back with you, Trav.
It's so great to see you in person, man.
I know.
It's been a while.
I know. I feel like I haven't been on a pod with you and Mason at the same time in like a month. So
yeah, man.
Yeah, it's good to see you again.
Yeah, brother. Producer Chris.
Yeah, I'm excited.
You were fantastic the other day on the mic, by the way.
I
think
do appreciate that.
You're coming into the sphere of pundit or analyst, if you will.
Yeah. Well, I was able to watch a couple of the games, so it does make it a little easier for us.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Doesn't it make it easier when you watch the game?
When you know what you're saying.
Yeah. When you're looking,
not just looking at the stats.
Yeah, you're not just looking at the stats. There you go. I love it. We love the away leg here, and we hope you two do too. And we would really love for you guys to let us know how much you love or hate the away leg, and if you have any questions. So you can get at us, as always, on Twitter at @B_B_radio, on Instagram at box_radio, Facebook, Box Radio, and obviously our email is 90min@boxtoboxradio.com. Please email us if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or if you have a really cool away leg question that we'd love to do. Gentlemen, enough nonsense. We're going to dive into it. Are we ready?
Yeah.
So, first question, first and foremost, there's been recent transfer news. It has been finalized that Eden Hazard has moved from Chelsea to Real Madrid. The fee is reported to be roughly around $100 million, with obviously some chances for that to go up with bonuses and incentives and whatnot. No surprise here.
Yeah, they're projecting, I think, close to $165 million.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah.
Obviously, no surprise here. Producer Chris, as a Chelsea fan, you knew this was coming, so don't be too sad. Guys, my question to you. Real Madrid has signed this player to kind of get back on track. The last 2 seasons, they've finished third in La Liga, losing out to Barcelona by over 10 points each season. My question to you is, what does Hazard have to do to be considered as successful as Cristiano Ronaldo, the former talisman of Real Madrid? Is that even feasible? Is that possible?
Yeah. I think that bringing Zidane back was a sign of he's brought more success to them, and they were improving a little bit before the end of the season. I think the biggest marker for Hazard, if he will be successful at the club, is one, can he bring Madrid back to success in the league, and can they have another successful Champions League run and go deeper than they did this past cycle?
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with you. Zidane coming back to the club is a big deal. I think he's a good coach. He's a good manager. He wants to win. He's obviously has credibility as a player to back it up in the locker room. Man, I don't know. I think anytime you replace someone like Cristiano Ronaldo, that's massive. You're talking 50 goals a season. So for me, is Hazard going to be the guy to do that? I don't know. I think he has to score 20, 30 goals a year. I think he has to get a lot of assists with whether that's Kovacic, whether that's, you have Benzema, whether Bale gets back in form.
They just hired another striker. Yeah, they brought on
Jovic Jot from Frankfurt.
Yeah, Jovic Jot, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Benzema won't be there any longer.
That's not correct. Benzema will definitely start. Do you know how many forwards have
really?
come?
Do you think that Benzema would start?
Do you know
over
how
him?
many forwards? There was a graphic the other day on Instagram, and I loved it. Do you know how many forwards have been in and out of Real Madrid in the past decade? And every single time, it's just like it's a picture of Benzema just like dusting off a nameplate and just fixing the nameplate on the bench. So it's like, here you go. Whether that was, they've brought in just a ton of different people. Higuain was there for a while. Morata was there for a while. Like, you just have all these names that were going to be brought in to be the number one. It's just like, sit down. I'm Benzema. I'm here. So I think Benzema is still going to start for quite a bit.
I don't think he'll start. I think that once they're on the training ground, I think that Zidane is going to just be like, I like this guy. I just think that if he has somebody that's young, fast, and scoring goals in the Bundesliga, I think that he will
Yeah,
bring
he's
him in.
also very unproven at the top level, so we'll see. I mean, he kind of disappeared after Frankfurt lost in the Europa League to Chelsea.
Yeah,
so
yeah, that was pretty bad.
I mean, all of Frankfurt really disappeared, but I think Benzema is going to start. I think that Gareth Bale is a possibility. But like I said, I think for Hazard to be considered successful, he has to come in. I think if he scores 15 goals and gets 10 assists, he's successful. I think if he's a Ronaldo level successful, they have to win the Copa del Rey. They have to win the league. They have to at least make the semifinals of the Champions League, and he has to be kind of in the final realm for the Ballon d'Or.
Yeah.
I think if he is going to be considered a Ronaldo, like a Galactico, like Ronaldo level status, at some point he has to be a very influential part in the team that wins the treble again.
Correct. I think he'll have not necessarily an easy time, but an easier time adjusting to the La Liga.
Easy transition.
Than adjusting to the Premier League.
Okay.
He's getting kicked for 90 straight minutes in England.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think La Liga is it's a good league. They don't like to defend very much.
That's very true.
So I think Hazard he'll succeed, and I think he'll score a lot of goals. I think he'll assist a lot of goals. He's probably a bit more of a talisman than Ronaldo was, but not as clinical.
You think he's more of a talisman than Ronaldo was? You say at the time of his transfer?
Yeah, I think he's going to be more of a setup man. He'll probably play, I think, slightly deeper than.
Do you think he'll play central,
Benzema.
or do you think he'll play on the left or on the right? I see him playing on the wing. I don't see him playing centrally. I think centrally they're pretty good. You know, they have Casemiro, Toni Kroos, Luka Modric, James Rodriguez coming back off loan.
Right.
So they still have Isco. So you never know. I mean, I know why they're looking pretty good. They have Vinicius Jr. They have Asensio still, Gareth Bale if he ever gets his act together. So
right.
we'll see. But I see him lining up on the wing as opposed to kind of maybe a kind of a 10, if that makes sense.
True, but not necessarily more as a 10, but like a withdrawn forward.
Right,
like,
coming in to get the ball and combining.
Yeah, like almost like a second 9 kind of behind Benzema. So I could see him there, or I could see him, like you said, out on the left.
And Ronaldo did play that a couple of times.
Yeah.
Not the entire game either. He would
but until they found out he could score millions of goals, and they put him as a 9.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, he played in the middle from time to time, but it wasn't very common. But I will say that if Hazard does not win the Ballon d'Or at least 2 times.
2 times?
He has to win it. For me, yes. If you're going to make a move to a team that big and then not win it, let's just say for grins, his first season that he doesn't get it to the semifinals of the Champions League, or they're still falling behind Barcelona. Let's just say all that happens, right? Let's just say that it's just not going well the first season. I give him past the first season. Just because Zidane is rebuilding his team. I get that. But if he doesn't win it at least twice after, I think that he really needs to reevaluate his decision of going over there, because that's kind of his goal. He wants to win the Ballon d'Or.
Is that his goal, or is his goal to win
the Champions League too?
The Champions League and the treble with Real Madrid potentially.
Yeah, but he has discussed, he's made comments in the media that he does want to be, you cannot win the Ballon d'Or unless you're playing for a team like that. And it's not necessarily that that's who they vote for. It's just that that's who the teams that usually play the best. They have the best teams built around certain players, like Ronaldo did, Messi does. So it makes it easier for him to win it if he's playing for that team. So I really feel that if he doesn't win it at least twice, that it was not as big of a success for me.
Yeah,
he could win the Champions League, but if he doesn't win the Ballon d'Or and he's not named number 1, I don't think it'd be as good.
I think that Real Madrid fans don't give 2 shakes about who wins the Ballon d'Or. I think they care about. Look, I think if he goes there season 1 and he wins the title, he gets another chance for a second season and sees how it's going to go. I think if he goes there season 1 and the team can't win the title and Barcelona wins the title again, he'll be labeled as a failure.
Oh yeah, big time.
So it's a lot of pressure. It's a big pressure move, but he's a big time player, and like I said, I think the reality is he's going to be looking to win.
And I was referring more towards personal,
like a personal
success. Yeah. Personal success. Yeah.
I don't care about him. I care about the fans, Chris. I care about the fans, man. So I mean, a lot of different ways it could go. We're just going to have to sit back and see how it does. How Zidane can manage him and the players around him. Gentlemen,
do you think that they would win the league in the first season?
I think so.
You think so with Hazard?
I think next year they'll win the league. Yes, I do. I don't think they'll win the Champions League. I could see them winning the Copa del Rey and doing the double. I think they'll do decent in Champions League.
With the squad that they have now, adding Hazard, since they signed Jovic, I think that Liverpool still would beat them.
Champions League?
The position that they are right now, yeah.
I'm not saying they're going to win the Champions League.
No, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
is that, there's
one
too many
winger
teams.
does not Champions League winner make.
Exactly. So I think that it would take a little bit of time for them to.
No, but
that's why I say that the Champions League.
But I do think they could beat Barcelona, especially with Messi getting older and Suarez getting older and Coutinho on his way out.
What a bad move for that guy.
I mean, a great move for Liverpool. Yeah. So, guys, I do have a follow-up question here, and I'm going to throw it at you off the cuff like I do away leg style. I just, off the top of my head right now, I thought about it, and here's going to be the second question. The club that Hazard is leaving, Chelsea Football Club, is in a bit of array. This is just kind of all over the place.
Are you just trying to trash Chelsea?
No. No. I'm curious about, especially as a Chelsea fan, producer Chris, what you're thinking. So Hazard's gone. Obviously, Higuain's going back off loan. Morata's still out at Atletico for one more year on loan. Willian and Pedro talks that they may or may not renew their deals. They have each a year left on their contract. Sarri might be out the door at Juventus. Hudson-Odoi and Loftus-Cheek are injured. And I don't know, man. This transfer thing is looking really weird. I don't know if they're actually going to get it suspended or not. So my question to you, the second question I'll pose is, how in trouble are Chelsea, and what is the realistic expectation for next season?
I think that they just need to stay afloat.
As in just not avoid relegation?
No.
That's what stay afloat means.
No. Stay afloat and stay in the top four. Top four is what I meant. Yeah.
Top four.
Just stay in the top four. I'm just saying.
They can't make top four with Hazard and a manager.
They did.
Barely.
They made it to third.
Barely.
Hey, where are you guys?
Okay, relax.
Okay.
Oh,
I think
snuck in there.
Look, I think that my expectation is just to stay in the top four. That's it. I don't think that they have a really good chance in the Champions League. I don't think that they have a really good chance against the league itself. I think that it's just going to be a rough road.
I think if Chelsea get top four, it's a miracle.
I think that it's going to be tough for them, but with not being able to sign any players, their depth will probably take a hit. I think it would be in their best interest to devote all of their focus towards one thing, whether that's the league, the FA Cup, or maybe trying to make a run in the Champions League, or if they make Europa, if they get knocked out. Whichever it is, I think that they would be stretched too thin to try and succeed in multiple competitions. So whether the board decides that, like, hey, we want to still do well in the league and forget about everything else. But I think that's up to them. I also have read that if it is found out that through their appeal process of their transfer ban, that they're just trying to get one more transfer window, that could also bring more repercussions back on them, and they could potentially be suspended for 4 more transfer windows.
So
a total of 6?
Yeah. If it's found out that their sole purpose in trying to appeal was to get an extension and get one last transfer window,
you better delete those emails.
Oh man, I'm not gonna get into that.
No, I know.
Man, you threw me off there.
I'm sorry.
No, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
There was hesitation, and this is why it's been dragging its feet, because there's hesitation because it was one of those things where it's like, cool, if you appeal and you win, it'll be gone. Right, but instead of 2, if you appeal and you lose, it's 3. And they're like, oh, I don't know how I feel about that. So, I think Pulisic is a great player. It's a great signing. I think that Hudson-Odoi, when he's healthy, is very good, and he's close to inking a new deal as well. I think that Loftus-Cheek is very good when he's healthy, but you don't really have any unbelievable center backs. I think David Luiz is good. I do like David Luiz. I don't think he's an elite level center back. I don't think you really have anybody next to him that you can play. You're talking, you lose your best player. You don't really have a striker. I know you love Giroud. I don't think he's an elite level striker. You don't really have wingers that are proper, that are the other side of 30. I mean, Pedro and Pedro and Willian are older and older and may or may not sign a deal. And you don't have a coach, potentially. Because Sarri is saying, I want out, I want out. The media in Juventus are already saying that he's going to come in. I think you're in real trouble. I think that when you look at City and Liverpool are the two, in my opinion, best teams in Europe. Even though City didn't make the final, I think City's the second best team in Europe behind Liverpool. And you look at Tottenham getting better, made the Champions League final. Man United getting better, potentially are going to finish top 4. Arsenal getting better, have a coach, organized. A long way to go, but getting better. Even like a Wolves getting better. I think like Europa would be the dream.
Chelsea is going through a weird transition, and
I think this is more than a weird transition. This is like it's like Independence Day, and you see the spaceships are coming down. Like, this isn't transition. This is like doomsday, bud.
Yeah, it's pretty bad right now. Yeah, I would agree with that. But at the same time, the transition with players is a little weird because they have players that are coming in through their academies.
And they also have like 40 players coming back on loan. I mean, you have Batshuayi, you have Tammy Abrams, you have a number of other players as well.
It's a mess right now. But the one thing I was going to say was that the youth aren't ready. They're just not ready yet to compete at the highest level. They're not. So they have all the youth. They have everything, but they're just not ready. So that's kind of the scary part when it comes to it.
You think they're going to get top 4?
I think that if they have their starters and they like,
but who are their starters?
A-Day, no, he pointed out to something real quick. He says if they just focus on the one, and I think just staying in the top 4, that would be the only thing. Call it quits on FA Cup and the Carabao and everything else, and they just.
So you want all the.
And one thing that focusing on the league would benefit them is they get to play all the young players midweek in the FA Cup and the League Cup and all those competitions.
That's a good point.
And those guys gain experience too. And they build their depth internally.
I get it.
That way.
But also, like, what? You want every Chelsea fan that's paying money for a team with no transfer capability to be like, yeah, we're going to travel to Germany to watch us play Dortmund in the Champions League. Oh, great. We have our U19 squad playing. I'm glad I spent my money on this. No, it's going to be a revolt.
So then don't spend your money to fly to Germany then. Yeah. Just stay at home, watch the games at Stamford Bridge.
And be a fake fan.
Be a fake fan. You can watch it on television.
I just think that if you mail it in for the Champions League, that there will be crazy Chelsea fans that are like, this is stupid.
I think those would be the two competitions that they do compete in. But only because of the money that they can bring in through the Champions League. I do not think that they're going to...
You can't spend the money because you have no one to buy.
I understand that, but they're still going to be saving the money for when it happens, right?
I mean, you just got all the money in the world from Hazard, but you can't spend it.
No, and you have to imagine if they appeal and lose, then there will be fines associated with that as well.
Probably, yeah.
So that money's just going to go straight back to the pocket of UEFA.
Yeah.
Speaking of transfer bans also... Real Madrid needs to sell $100 million worth of players. They need to make $100 million back in profit after that they have just bought Jovic and Hazard to re-comply with UEFA standards. So then they also might be hit with
Gareth Bale
transfer bans. So yeah,
do you think they can unload him?
What I would do if I were them too, you have to unload him. But also he is the type, he said, I will not go unless I am going to he's not going to take a pay cut, and why would you? But
yeah,
here's my thing: could you work out a deal where you offload him, and a club and him agree a fee, and if it's 120 a week instead of 170 a week, how about Real Madrid pays him the other 50 a week so that he just goes?
I heard that was in the talks with other teams as well.
Yeah,
they said that they had mentioned
that's
paying half of his salary.
Way.
Yeah, paying half.
But then you become
salary.
the club that's paying somebody to play against you. Well, that's crazy. That's a crazy thought.
If he's still on their payroll, then I think there's some sort of wonky loophole that he would technically still be sort of cup tied, so he wouldn't ever be eligible to compete against the team. So,
but China's paying a lot of money for players.
Yeah, but that's a whole.
He would never go there. But
that's a whole loophole.
I have heard that Bale has been linked on loan to United, but going out on loan wouldn't really clear anything off the books for Madrid. That wouldn't be a transfer.
No, they really have to get rid of him.
Yeah. Excuse me, it's $300 million, not $100 million.
Oh my.
So that's 4 or 5 players.
That's great. They'll find their way out of it. But yeah, I think Chelsea is doomed. I think they're doomed to Roman in the 7th to 8th range for the next 3 years.
Why are you smiling as you say it?
Because I hate Chelsea. I hate Chelsea almost as much as I hate Tottenham, but not quite. So, but look, man, I think Arsenal, for as shocking as Arsenal have been, Arsenal they're getting better. They have a coach. They have a direction. They have a style of play. Tottenham are getting better and better. Chelsea and City, like I said, two of the best in Europe. Man United's going to get better, hopefully signing Gareth Bale. So I think Chelsea's doomed. And if I'm like Everton and Wolves and West Ham, I go to the Chelsea store and I have myself a fire sale and I see who can I get and just see if I can just pick somebody off, because then it's just like you just slowly bring Chelsea down, just start to sink them, and then in 2 years' time, we're having a party for their relegation.
I don't know. Honestly, if it was me, I'd rather go after Real Madrid after what Ade just said. Yeah, I mean, they have a better hype.
Must go.
Yeah, they have a better fire sale than we do. They have better talent.
Moving along, because I think that's as definitive as we're going to get. We're just going to have to wait and see until next year for both answers. Speaking of good players and elite players and the best players in the world, gentlemen, it is a very far way away. But my question to you is, who is the favorite, however many months out, to win next year's Ballon d'Or?
Oh,
the last winner was Luka Modric. Several before that have been a combination of Messi and Ronaldo. That Chris before the show pointed out that the last the last 6 winners in a row have been from La Liga.
It's more than that.
Yeah,
because Messi and Ronaldo have like 11 combined. Or
so it's
like
the last
like
decade
and a half almost
have been Spanish players.
Yeah.
So Chris wasn't happy about that. He thinks the league has something to do with it.
It's about 10.
And not the fact that they're the 2 best players to ever play the game.
And Ronaldo won it in 2008 with Manchester United.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, so
since 2008, was he the last one to win it? That wasn't in Spain?
Yeah. In La Liga, yeah.
So, do you think Messi or Ronaldo repeats it? Do you think Luka Modric keeps it? Do you think maybe a new guy like Kylian Mbappe gets it?
No.
What are your
no?
What are your picks, gentlemen?
I really think Van Dijk is making a strong case.
You took mine. Oh.
I really think Van Dijk's making a strong case for it. He was a PFA Player of the Year, second place in the league. The highest point total for a runner-up in EPL. They won the Champions League. He made it to the final of the Nations League, and that's all in 6 months. So I think Van Dijk's making a strong case for that.
I go for him too. I mean, unfortunately, I wish it was a little different, but he was the only standout player this year. I mean, one that just makes you go, wow, just jaw dropped every time. I mean, he was the only guy.
Gentlemen.
Don't say Mbappe. Please don't.
Gentlemen, we are in agreement.
Enlighten us with the... Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. You've thrown me for a loop. I was going to say enlighten us with the correct answer.
I want to take a moment and correct the Mason Carmichael voice because it's in my head and I know it is, and I'm going to hear it when he gets back. But Mason, 2.5 years ago when you came to me and you said Virgil van Dijk is the best defender in the world, you were incorrect, because at the time Sergio Ramos was, because he captained Real Madrid to the Champions League final and he injured Mo Salah, maybe on purpose, maybe not on purpose. We yet to decide. He was the best defender in the world. Now I think that Virgil van Dijk is not only the best defender in the world, I think he is the best player from this past 6 months, calendar year, whatever you want to call it. He's incredible to watch. I think he's 0 dribbles completed against is unbelievable.
That's an insane stat.
I've never heard of anybody that hasn't been beaten at least once, I think.
Me in the beer league.
Oh, producer Chris. That's what happens when you're 6'7", baby.
Just a destroyer.
They're just scared of you.
Yeah.
You wear your producer Chris shirt and they're like, oh, I can't mess with that guy.
PC. There you go.
No, I think that, like you said, I think captaining, his country.
Yeah.
And leading them to the Nations League, which just we saw the highlight ESPN FC on in the background, and congratulations to Portugal.
Yeah.
We finally figured out what that trophy looked like and the mystery that is the Nations League. It's a weird thing. Portugal beat the Netherlands 1-0 in the final, so Portugal's still decent.
That is one thing that I would say is, to Ronaldo's credit, another accolade that he's probably still going to be in the running for it. At least top 3, I think, is the Nations League title. So
yeah, and the fact that he scored a hat trick in the semifinal.
Yeah, and the Juventus winning the league. again, but
He was very underwhelming, though.
yeah, and they would have done it without him. But anyway, it's just like that. Those are the types of things that help you to win the Ballon d'Or. So
Yeah, I think, but I mean, being one of the best, the Premier League player of the year is insane, and then also winning the Champions League final.
You know who I think may even just be on the roster for that list?
Who will make the final cut?
De Ligt. I think that.
I think he'll make the final 25.
That's what I'm saying. I think he'll make a list.
The final like 6.
No. No, but he will be on the list.
Now in
somewhere.
5 years, he'll lose out to Mbappe. Mbappe's going to win the Ballon d'Or.
my God.
Mark my words. In the next 5 years,
I believe that.
In the next 5 years, he'll win the Ballon d'Or.
When he leaves, yes. If he leaves, he needs to leave. Yeah, if he leaves, yes, he will win it.
I think he'll win the Ballon
I think
d'Or.
he will, but
Or he'll just lead PSG to the Champions League title.
yeah, he'll need to win a Champions League and probably make another deep run with France in the World Cup to get talked about in the next.
That's
5 years.
fair.
that would be 5 years. Yeah.
But
So-
Trav, I'm so happy you just said that about the World Cup because great transition. Gentlemen, here's my fourth question. And it's an interesting one. So never, ever, 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 ever
Not ever.
have a country's men's top team and women's top team. By top team, I mean the full national team, not the U20s, not the U23s for the Olympics or whatever. Never has a country's full men's national team or women's national team won the World Cup both the same cycle. So the men and then the year later the women play the World Cup. So for example, it would be as if France won it, the last World Cup, and then the French women winning it now. Mm-hmm. So my question to you guys is, who do you think is going to be the first country to have the men and the women win it the same cycle?
When you say same cycle, that could be basically within a 2-year span.
So
So
yeah.
it doesn't necessarily mean that the men's has to come first and then the women's. It could be the women's and then in 2 years the men's.
Yeah, for me, when I imagine that, it would be like saying they win it the same year, but they just don't play the competition the same year. Mm-hmm. So it would just be like I said, it's the men first, and then it's they do the men's tournament first, and then the women's tournament is like 2 years later, I think, because it's a 2-year thing.
So you're just giving us 12 months, pretty much.
What?
It's 24 months.
24 months.
Yeah, within a 24-month span. I guess either way, the women could win it first, and then the men could win it.
Or 12 months. Sorry.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So
I'm doing the math wrong.
that's all good.
Yeah.
So I think that France has a really good shot this year.
They really do, don't they?
Yeah, based on the
Yeah.
on
The women looked
performance.
outstanding.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the performance
I
that
wrote
they
that
had.
down.
Yeah, they had a really, really good game. It was just
They look phenomenal. I think they have maybe a couple of teams in their way, but I mean, obviously they're on home soil as well. So, Trav, what are you thinking?
I had France down as well in my head. The favorites for this women's World Cup is probably France, Germany, and the U.S.
Yeah, they'll all,
The
all
U.S.
make it. Yeah.
will not win a World Cup on the men's side for a very long time. I think Germany has a strong chance.
Yeah.
I think in 2022 the men's side will bounce back, and then outside of that, I really don't see any other.
For me, there's one that you guys are both missing, and it's a bit of a long shot, but I'm gonna take it. I legitimately think in the next 4 to 8 years that it could be England.
Yeah.
I think that the women are one of the favorites to win this year. Mm-hmm. They're always good. The Women's Premier League is of excellent quality. I know the Arsenal ladies are very good as well. They're always in the hunt for that. So you never know. And then the men are really young. And I think once the men's team kind of gets it right, I think Gareth Southgate is an unbelievable coach. I think that, like I said, Rashford and Ali and all of them are in their early 20s. So Lingard as well is in that kind of category. So I think that they have some unbelievable players coming up, and I think that I personally would say that they're my pick. I think they could do it because the U.S. men's team is really far away from. Yeah,
I'm going to take back what I just said about the U.S. 2026 we'll be on home soil.
Okay,
and
will we be good enough? You think?
That depends, but
Depends on if Will Trapp starts in the midfield or not.
Correct. Or if they give him the armband, We hosted the Copa America Centenario and made the final when I didn't think we were very good.
Yeah, but that's a whole different.
But I mean, it's on home soil. Home field advantage can go a long way.
This is true. Yeah.
Obviously a long shot, but I think by 2027 the U.S. women will probably be due again for another
We'll reload,
another
and
win,
go,
and
yeah.
they'll cycle out with the older players. Lloyd will be gone, and Tobin Heath will probably be gone. Rapinoe will be out.
Alex Morgan, sad cry face.
Yeah, but
Can you imagine though if they do have a really good team, but then draw the group of death?
Usually the draw is pretty nice to the host, though. Usually.
Yeah.
But can you imagine you're the host
No,
team?
I don't want to talk about it. It's gonna be it upsets me.
because the host team they'll be seeded, so they'll be 1A, and then I guess in 2020,
Yeah, because they do the plots.
I guess in 2026 it'll be 1A, 1B, and 1C with Canada and Mexico as well.
Yeah,
I guess, but
yeah, because they're co-hosts.
yeah, but there's no telling what UEFA or what FIFA will do with that. There's been talks about not allowing the host to automatically qualify anymore or whatever.
I think that's a crock. I think the host has to qualify, but that's a whole.
Yeah, and that's another away leg question.
That's a great away leg question.
Yeah, but I think my top three, I guess, would be France, Germany, and the U.S. and England was a strong shout, like you mentioned.
Yeah, guys, let us know what you think. We'd love to get your opinions. The best way to get at us is via email if you have a question for the away leg, or obviously if you have an opinion about what we said. Our email is 90min@boxtoboxradio.com. We are very active on social media. Twitter is one of the easiest ways to get at us. Our Twitter is @B_B_radio. You can follow us on Instagram for some cool pictures and content. Our Instagram is @boxtobox_radio. And on Facebook, we are Box to Box Radio. We are on Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify, and now YouTube. Again, great shout out to Sincerely Yours, one of the best bands in Austin, giving us some of the greatest music to play for you guys and your enjoyment. This has been Travis Carmichael. That has been Travis A-Day. That has been producer Chris. This was the away leg. We love you guys. Thanks for listening.